Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Investor Loki, and in this video I will be talking about the two best buffs, in my opinion, that will serve Loki and become more viable in Conquest. Now, before we do get to that, I want to talk about the most controversial thing about Loki that is talked about all the time, which is reworking Loki's kit. Now, do I agree or disagree? I disagree. Now, there's many factors you guys got to consider, such as financially, is this going to be more beneficial reworking Loki? Because you guys got to keep in mind that Loki is one of the most played gods in Smite. Now, why is that? Well, let's take a look at his abilities, right? So if you're a new player, right, you would usually stick to a god that's very simple and easy to understand. If you look at Loki's abilities, it's literally like, upon activation, Loki's next basic attack deals additional damage. His passive, he deals bonus damage from behind. His ultimate, he teleports, stabs you in the back. Okay, he's decoy. He distracts and explodes nearby enemies, right? Now, if we look at, for instance, Kernus' abilities, right? What is this? The first thing you'll see is Shifters of Seasons, and there's literally a scroll bar here. And it says, Kernus imbues his glaive with the power of the 4 seasons, activating this ability. And you guys get the point, right? This is very intimidating. So Kernus is not going to be a god that beginners are going to play. Literally, when they look at Loki, the first thing they see is easy things. Like, Loki disappears in a buff of smoke. While invisible, that's all I need to know. He goes invisible. Hey, that's good. I don't need to know anything else because, who needs to know that? You go invisible, you deal damage, you have a passive that deals more damage from behind. Loki is a very easy god to play at first. So this brings up the whole stereotype of Loki being a brainiac god or a Loki being the easiest god in the game. Sasan, no. But, so that is basically the main reason why Loki should not get a rekit. It's because, it's not going to work. A lot of people are going to be mad, pissed off that, hey, this god that I got so easy and so used to is changed to something that's probably even harder to play. And that is not something that the Smite community would want. For us pro-Loki players, yes, of course we want that, because we know everything about Loki, and so we want to play him more competitively. But it is harder to do that when he's underperforming in Conquest. Now, whether you agree or disagree that he's underperforming, whether you believe that he's the most broken thing in the game, well, he's not broken. He is underperforming in Conquest, whether you agree or disagree. I mean, literally every pro agrees and whatnot. If you think that Loki is strong, well, you need to get good. Now let's talk about the first buff for Loki. The first buff for Loki is that his decoy will now apply the Bluestone Pendant effect, which, if you guys don't know, will deal 30 extra physical damage over the next 2 seconds. So if you hit someone with a damaging ability, you're going to deal 15 and another 15 with a total of 30, without mitigations, of course. So this means that if Loki's base damage of decoy at level 1 is 75, and Bluestone Pendant gives you 15 power, this means you'll have a total of 90 damage so far. Now if you add the Bluestone Pendant effect, that's an additional 30, which makes it a total of 120 damage to the minion wave. Now keep in mind the minion wave does have their own defense, but we're not going to count for that with this comparison with another warrior. Sun Wukong, who we're going to be comparing with right here, has 80 damage at level 1, but only 60% of physical power. 60% off of 15 is 9. 9 plus 80 is 89, plus 30 is 119. Now, does this mean all of a sudden that Loki is broken and he can now outclear Sun Wukong? No, not at all. Because he has a 10-second cooldown, while Loki has a 14-second cooldown on his decoy, while also keep in mind that Sun Wukong literally has 2 more abilities to clear the wave with, while Loki has none. But nothing but basic attacks. You can use your aim strike on minions, but it's single target, which is just pointless. And plus, if you get close to the wave, someone could actually outpoke you and bully you. So that's the issue with Loki. He doesn't have clearing. He cannot clear anything until later on the stages when his decoy is upgraded and can then kill the wave entirely. Which then at that point any god can clear an entire wave. So that will not make Loki very strong at all. It would help him at level 1 to clear a little bit better compared to just dealing 90 damage compared to 120. That's a huge boost. I mean, yeah, that's 30 more damage. That is great. So that is the first Loki buff that I have to offer. Now the second buff is about his passive. So we are all aware that you deal 20% more damage from behind again on enemy gods, as well as anything. So my proposal is that so he keeps his passive the same, except whenever he attacks a creep, not a minion, a creep. The difference between a creep and a minion is that a minion is in the lane, a creep is in the jungle. The jungle buffs, or creeps, you will deal 50% bonus damage from behind instead of 20%. This allows Loki to be an actual jungler rather than a laner. Now, 50% is pretty high. That's like half a crit. The thing is, though, is the entire thing is to make Loki a jungler again, not a solo laner. This also prevents some Loki players from maxing out his decoy in the jungle, allowing him to gank more efficiently and put points on his damaging abilities that are the main source here. So that is the two buffs that I believe are the best for Loki. Now, do I believe that he deserves both of those buffs at once? Yes and no, because again, one buff is for his lane, and the other buff is for his jungle. Now you can also obviously get Bluestone and Boomba's Mask as a jungle Loki, which is fine, and you will deal Bluestone damage on creeps or jungles, whatever, while also having that 50% extra damage from behind. Now keep in mind that Loki cannot always backstab the target, because as soon as the decoy dies after 3 seconds, the minions will automatically turn around. Now, of course, if you have a friend or an ally nearby or whatever, you obviously can continuously backstab it, but that's whatever. Your team's there to help you deal more damage. So this again just allows Loki to be more of a jungler, help him to be a jungler, rather than just a solo laner who sits and does nothing but get bullied out and press 2 all day, and or waste a lane for squishy rather than a tank. That's on how the solo lane is supposed to be for tanks. Junglers is for assassins generally. So that's about it, guys. Now, feel free to give me your thoughts and suggestions. No suggestions. Give me your thoughts down below of what you believe. If you believe that I am right, and if you believe that maybe one of the buffs should be applied, or both of them should be applied, or maybe none of them. Tell me why you think that my buffs are not good, and please do not suggest your own. This is for constructive criticism, not for your own ideas and suggestions on like, oh, let's make Loki's 3 deal AoE damage, or let's make his 2 poppable or whatever. No. We do not want to. Okay, you guys need to understand that Loki is a pub stomper, meaning that he's the type of character who kills every noob out there, which is why he's known as a broken god, apparently. We don't want that. We don't want to make Loki deal more damage than he has to do. Like, we don't want to make him kill people faster. That's not the issue here. The issue is that he cannot clear efficiently and cannot compete against other enemy gods who can clear 2 times faster than he can. They literally need to use one ability, and Loki has to use, well, all of his kit except for his ultimate to actually finish an entire camp. So keep that in mind, that these 2 changes will not make Loki more annoying or even less annoying. He will just be more viable. Now, whether you think that if Loki being viable is annoying, that's more of a biased preference, and that's just irrelevant at this point. So I will see you all Loki and non-Loki players next time.